What happens when a music legend gets tired of being talked down to by a talk show host who thinks she knows everything? Well, you're about to witness one of the most shocking moments in daytime television history. Chaka Khan, the queen of funk herself, absolutely demolished Joy Behar right there on the View set, and the entire audience was left speechless. This was not your typical celebrity interview gone wrong. This was a masterclass in how to handle disrespect with pure class and devastating precision. Before we dive into this incredible confrontation, make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think about celebrities standing up for themselves. The tension started building the moment Chaka Khan walked onto the View set. You could feel something was off from the very beginning. Joy Behar had that smug look she gets when she thinks she's about to school someone, completely unaware that she was about to meet her match. The other hosts, Whoopi, Sarah, Sunny, and Alyssa, seemed to sense something brewing, but none of them could have predicted what was coming. Joy started with what seemed like a harmless question, but anyone who knows her style could hear the condescension dripping from her voice. "So, Chaka, you've been in the music business for what, 50 years now? That must feel like forever in pop music terms." Chaka Khan, dressed in a stunning purple ensemble that commanded respect, looked directly at Joy with those piercing eyes that have intimidated industry executives for decades. "Actually, Joy, I've been blessed to have a career that spans over 5 decades, and unlike some people in television, I've managed to stay relevant without tearing others down." The audience shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't the usual celebrity politeness they were used to seeing. Chaka had just thrown down a gauntlet, and Joy, being Joy, was too arrogant to pick up on the warning. Joy laughed that fake laugh she does when she's been called out but wants to pretend she's in control. "Oh, well, aren't you feisty today? I'm just saying, the music industry has changed so much. I mean, do young people even know who you are anymore?" Whoopi tried to jump in with a nervous laugh. "Come on, Joy. Everyone knows Chaka Khan." But Chaka held up her hand, never breaking eye contact with Joy. "Let me stop you right there, Joy. Young people not only know who I am, they sample my music, they cover my songs, and they show me more respect in 5 minutes than you've managed in 30 seconds. But let me ask you something. When was the last time someone under 40 knew your name for something other than being loud and wrong on television?" The studio went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Sarah Haynes looked like she wanted to crawl under the table, and Sunny Hostin's mouth was slightly open in shock. This was live television at its most brutal. Joy's face flushed red, and you could see her trying to regain control of the situation. "Listen here. I've been doing television longer than most people have been alive. I think I know how to conduct an interview." Chaka leaned back in her chair, completely composed, like she was about to deliver a masterpiece. "Oh, you think this is an interview? I thought this was you trying to make yourself feel important by diminishing my accomplishments. See, that's the difference between us, Joy. I build people up with my art. You tear them down with your words." Joy was scrambling now, realizing she had picked the wrong person to mess with. "I wasn't trying to diminish anything. I was just making conversation. No, what you were doing was being disrespectful. And frankly, I'm tired of it." Chaka's voice was calm, but carried the weight of someone who had dealt with difficult personalities her entire career. "You started this conversation by suggesting my career was basically over, then questioned whether young people know me, all while sitting there like you're some kind of authority on music and culture. Newsflash, Joy, you're not." The camera kept cutting to the other hosts, who clearly had no idea how to handle this situation. Whoopi was making faces like she was watching a car crash in slow motion, while Sarah looked like she was praying for a commercial break. Joy tried to laugh it off again, but her voice was shaking slightly. "Well, I certainly didn't mean any disrespect." Chaka wasn't having it. "Oh, but you did mean it, Joy. That's exactly what you meant. See, I've been in this business long enough to recognize when someone is trying to play games with me, and I don't play games, honey. I end them. The audience was completely captivated. This wasn't just a clash between two strong personalities. This was a veteran entertainer showing a talk show host exactly what happens when you underestimate someone's intelligence and grace under pressure. Joy was starting to get defensive, which was exactly where Chaka wanted her. I think you're overreacting a bit here. Overreacting? Chaka's eyebrows raised. And everyone in that studio knew Joy had just made a fatal error. Let me tell you what overreacting looks like. Joy. Overreacting would be me walking off this set right now and telling everyone exactly what kind of person you really are behind the cameras. Overreacting would be me using my platform to show people the receipts of how you treat guests when you think the cameras aren't rolling. What I'm doing right now is giving you a chance to apologize and move on with some dignity and tact. Joy was visibly flustered now, her usual confidence completely shattered. I don't think I need to apologize for doing my job. Your job is to interview guests, not insult them. Chaka fired back without missing a beat. But since you brought up jobs, let's talk about that. My job has been making music that moves people's souls for over 50 years. Your job seems to be sitting at this table, making people uncomfortable with your ignorance. I'd say one of us is definitely better at their job than the other. The other hosts were exchanging glances, clearly torn between wanting to support their colleague and recognizing that Joy had walked into this mess all by herself. Alyssa Farah Griffin looked like she was taking notes on how to handle difficult situations with class. Joy was getting more agitated by the minute. Realizing that her usual tactics weren't working on someone who had faced down record executives, difficult producers, and industry politics for decades. I've been nothing but professional here. Chaka let out a laugh that could have melted steel. Professional? Joy. If this is your idea of professional, I'd hate to see what you consider rude. You've spent the last 5 minutes questioning my relevance, my impact, and basically suggesting that my career is a relic of the past. In what world is that professional? The tension in the room was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and Chaka was just getting started. Joy was clearly feeling the heat now, and instead of backing down gracefully, she decided to double down on her mistake. Look, I think we're getting a little too heated here. This is supposed to be a fun interview about your new project. Chaka tilted her head slightly, like a predator studying its prey. You spend 10 minutes trying to tear me down, and now that I'm fighting back, suddenly you want to change the subject to something productive. The audience was completely silent, hanging on every word. This wasn't just entertainment anymore. This was a masterclass in how to handle disrespect with surgical precision. Joy tried to regain some authority in her voice. I was never trying to tear you down. I think you're being overly sensitive. Those words hit the studio like a thunderbolt. Whoopi's eyes widened. Sarah actually gasped audibly, and Sunny put her hand to her forehead like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Joy had just called Chaka Khan, a woman who had fought through decades of industry, sexism, and racism, overly sensitive. Chaka's response was devastating in its calm delivery. Overly sensitive? Joy, let me explain something to you. When you've survived what I've survived in this industry, when you've had to prove yourself over and over again to people who didn't want you to succeed, you develop a very clear understanding of when someone is trying to diminish you. And that's exactly what you've been doing since I sat down. Joy was stammering now, realizing she had stepped in it big time. I really don't think that's fair. Fair? Chaka leaned forward, her voice dropping to that dangerous tone that every seasoned performer knows how to use. You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that you invited me here supposedly to discuss my work, but instead decided to spend your time questioning whether I'm still relevant? Is it fair that you think you can talk to me like I'm some newcomer who doesn't know the business? Is it fair that when I defend myself, you call me overly sensitive? Joy was floundering, looking around at her co-hosts for support, but they were all smart enough to stay out of this. I just think maybe we got off on the wrong foot. No, Joy, we got off on the foot you chose. You made a decision to start this conversation with disrespect, and now you're surprised that I'm not just sitting here taking it with a smile. Chaka's words were like precision strikes. See, that's the problem with people like you. You think because someone is a guest on your show, they have to accept whatever treatment you dish out. The camera was capturing every micro-expression, every uncomfortable shift in the room. Joy was sweating now, her makeup starting to show the stress of being completely outmatched by someone who had decades of experience handling difficult personalities. Joy made another fatal mistake by trying to get aggressive. Now, wait, just a minute. I don't have to sit here and be lectured by you. The studio went so quiet you could hear the cameras humming. Chaka slowly sat back in her chair, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth that every person in that room recognized as dangerous. Oh, but you do, Joy. Because you created this situation. You could have been respectful. You could have been professional. You could have actually done your job. But instead, you chose to try to make yourself look important by making me look small. The only problem with that strategy is that I don't make small, honey. I make legendary. Joy's voice was getting higher and more strained. I think you're completely mischaracterizing what happened here. Am I? Let's review. Shall we? Chaka counted on her fingers, like she was teaching a child. First, you suggested my 50-year career was basically ancient history. Then you questioned whether young people know who I am. Then when I responded with grace and intelligence, you called me feisty, like I was some untrained pet. When I continued to defend myself, you told me I was overreacting and overly sensitive. Did I miss anything? Or would you like to add some more insults to the list? Joy was completely trapped now, and everyone in the studio could see it. I didn't mean those things the way you took them. Oh, but you did mean them exactly the way I took them, Chaka replied smoothly. The problem is, you're not used to people calling you out on your behavior. You're used to celebrities coming on here, taking whatever you dish out, and leaving quietly. But I'm not most celebrities. Joy. I'm Chaka Khan, and I didn't get where I am by letting people disrespect me. Whoopi finally tried to intervene, clearly desperate to save the show. Ladies, maybe we should take a breath here. Chaka turned to Whoopi with a respectful nod. Whoopi, I have nothing but respect for you and this show. But your colleague here decided to start something she clearly can't finish, and I'm not going to pretend that's okay just to make everyone comfortable. Joy was grasping for any way to regain control. I've been doing this show for years, and I've interviewed thousands of people. And how many of them told you the truth about how you made them feel? Chaka shot back instantly. How many of them went home feeling like they had been treated with respect and dignity? Because I guarantee you, based on what I've experienced in the last 15 minutes, I'm not the first person you've treated this way. I'm just the first one with enough experience and confidence to call you out on it. Sarah looked like she wanted to disappear completely, while Alyssa was clearly studying how Chaka was handling this situation with such composure under pressure. Joy tried one more desperate move. I think we should probably move on to talking about your music. Chaka's laugh was rich and full, filling the entire studio. Now you want to talk about my music? After spending all this time trying to convince everyone that my music doesn't matter anymore? Joy, you can't insult someone and then expect them to perform for you. That's not how respect works. Joy's face was getting redder by the minute. I never said your music didn't matter. You didn't have to say it directly. Your whole approach, your tone, your questions, they all suggested that you think I'm some has-been who should be grateful for the opportunity to be on your show. But here's the thing. Joy. I'm Chaka Khan. People don't do me favors by having me on their show. I do them favors by showing up. The audience was completely captivated. This wasn't just a celebrity feud. This was a clinic in how to handle disrespect with class, intelligence, and devastating effectiveness. Joy was now visibly angry, her professional facade completely cracking. "I think you're being incredibly unfair and hostile." Chaka's response was swift and brutal. "Hostile? Joy. If I was being hostile, you would know it. What I'm being is honest. And apparently, you're not used to people being honest with you about how your behavior affects them. That's not my problem. That's yours." Joy was spiraling now, her usual confidence completely shattered, and she made the biggest mistake of the entire confrontation. Standing up slightly in her chair, she pointed her finger at Chaka and raised her voice. "You know what? I don't have to take this from you or anyone else. This is my show, and I'll ask whatever questions I want to ask." The entire studio went dead silent. Even the camera operators seemed to freeze. Joy had just pulled rank on Chaka Khan, and everyone in that room knew she had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Chaka didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She simply looked at Joy, with the kind of stare that had intimidated music executives for 5 decades, and spoke in a tone so calm, it was terrifying. "Your show? Joy, let me tell you something about shows. I've been the headlining act on stages around the world since before you even thought about television. I've commanded audiences of hundreds of thousands of people, and every single one of them paid good money to see me perform. This little daytime talk show you're so proud of? This is cute. But don't ever mistake having a microphone for having power over me." Joy's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. She had never been spoken to like this on her own show, and she clearly had no idea how to respond. Chaka wasn't finished. "And another thing. Joy, you want to talk about your show? Your show invited me here. Your producers called my people because they wanted the legendary Chaka Khan to grace this set with her presence. So don't you dare sit there and act like you're doing me some kind of favor. I'm the favor, honey." Whoopi was frantically trying to signal to the producers, while Sarah looked like she was witnessing a murder in slow motion. Sunny was shaking her head in disbelief, and Alyssa appeared to be taking mental notes on how to never end up in Joy's position. Joy tried to salvage some dignity. "I think you're being completely unreasonable." Chaka tilted her head and smiled that dangerous smile again. "Unreasonable? Joy, what's unreasonable is thinking you can disrespect a legend and not get called out for it. What's unreasonable is believing that your little corner of daytime television gives you the right to talk down to people who were breaking barriers while you were still figuring out how to work a microphone." Joy's voice was shaking now, a mix of anger and humiliation. "I've been in television for decades, and yet you still haven't learned basic respect." Chaka fired back without hesitation. "See, Joy, longevity doesn't equal quality. I've been in music for decades too. But the difference is, I've spent that time lifting people up, inspiring them, creating art that touches souls. You've spent your time sitting behind this desk, thinking you're important, because you can ask other people questions about their accomplishments." The audience was completely mesmerized. This wasn't just a celebrity confrontation anymore. This was a master class in how to dismantle someone's ego with surgical precision. Joy made one final desperate attempt to regain control. "I think we should end this interview right now." Chaka laughed, a rich, full sound that filled the entire studio. "Oh, you want to end the interview now? After you started all this drama? Joy, you can't pick a fight with the Queen of Funk and then decide you want to quit when you realize you're outmatched." Joy was visibly trembling with rage and embarrassment. "I did not pick a fight." "You absolutely picked a fight," Chaka said, her voice steady as a rock. "From the moment I sat down, you decided to test me. You thought I would be like all those other celebrities who come on here, smile politely, and let you treat them however you want. But I'm not them, Joy. I'm Chaka Khan, and I didn't build a legendary career by backing down from bullies." The other hosts were completely silent. Watching this masterpiece of verbal destruction unfold before their eyes. Joy had created this situation entirely by herself. And now, she was paying the price. Joy's voice was barely above a whisper now. I just don't think this is productive anymore. Chaka leaned forward one final time, her eyes locked on Joy's. You know what's not productive, Joy? Inviting someone onto your show, and then spending the entire time trying to make them feel small so you can feel big. You know what else isn't productive? Thinking you can question my relevance when you're sitting across from living music history. And you know what's really not productive? Not learning from this experience. Joy was completely defeated, her usual fire extinguished by someone who had faced down much tougher opponents than a daytime talk show host having a bad day. Chaka sat back in her chair, completely composed, like she had just finished a casual conversation about the weather. Now, you wanted to talk about my music earlier. I have a new project that celebrates the power of resilience, of standing up for yourself, of not letting people dim your light, just because they're uncomfortable with how brightly it shines. Would you like to hear about that? Or would you prefer to continue making this about your bruised ego? Joy couldn't even look at her anymore. I think maybe Whoopi should handle the rest of this. Whoopi jumped at the chance to salvage what was left of the segment. Chaka, we'd love to hear about your new project. Chaka's entire demeanor changed instantly, becoming warm and engaging as she turned to Whoopi. Thank you, Whoopi. You see, that's how you conduct an interview. With respect, with genuine interest, with professionalism. The contrast was stark and deliberate. Chaka was showing everyone in that studio exactly how the interview should have gone from the beginning. As Chaka began discussing her music with Whoopi, Joy sat in her chair, looking like she had just survived a natural disaster. The audience was still processing what they had witnessed. This wasn't just a clash between two personalities. This was a complete dismantling of someone who thought they could disrespect a legend and get away with it. The cameras captured every moment as Chaka transformed from a warrior defending her dignity back into the gracious, accomplished artist she had always been. The message was clear to everyone watching. Respect is earned, not demanded. And when you try to diminish greatness, sometimes greatness diminishes you right back. Joy Behar had learned a lesson that day about what happens when you underestimate the power, intelligence, and grace of a true legend. Chaka Khan had reminded everyone why she's called the Queen of Funk, and it had nothing to do with her music and everything to do with her ability to command respect in any room she enters. The interview ended with Joy sitting in stunned silence, while Chaka graciously thanked the other hosts and walked off the set like the queen she had proven herself to be. It was a moment that would be talked about for years, a perfect example of what happens when someone thinks they can play games with a legend and discovers they're completely out of their league. This was Chaka Khan showing the world that respect isn't optional, it's required. And when someone tries to take it from you, sometimes you have to take it right back, with interest. Make sure you subscribe for more incredible moments like this, and let me know in the comments, do you think Joy Behar learned her lesson? Or will she make the same mistake again with another guest?